Allora, buongiorno. Riprendiamo il...
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's resume our work. We are lagging behind, so let's try and make up for the time we lost. So we'll try to be as short as possible and then to give room to a Q&A session. I'll just give you a very short introduction in order to set the ball rolling for this session. In the previous session, we heard about an optimistic vision of the future by Professor Darton from Harvard University, and we also heard a set of open questions, and we'll try to answer, posed by Milagros del Corral. She asked us many questions, and these have to do with the whole book industry. For starters, the relationship between ebook and paper books. Then also we were asked and we wondered about the future of publishers. Publishers were used to be a sort of broker between authors and end readers, but they were also very active intermediaries, brokers. They suggested changes and put forward some proposals. With the advent of the digital media, there might be a new approach to books, in the sense that authors themselves might decide to go online and therefore skip the middlemen, deciding to do things on their own. Then there's another aspect which has to do with bookstores. What will bookstores do? E-books can be downloaded from the internet. So we wonder, will bookstores provide internet stations in order to download books, or will they stick to paper books? Or even, will they be faced with major difficulties because they will lose market shares? We heard from the optimistic view that in some regions, paper books, traditional books, actually improved their sales, even though there were many interesting initiatives on the front of e-books. And will that be the case for every country as e-books develop or not? There might be even more questions. And we'll try to answer to some of them at this round table.
Having finished this first round of questions, I would like to know whether there's anyone among the public, among the audience, who wishes to ask questions. We have about a quarter of an hour, 15 minutes. So don't be shy. Put your hands up if you have questions or you wish to add considerations or opinions to what has been said. If there's no one among the audience for the time being, if somebody's thinking about it, maybe someone around the table would like to expand on some of the points that I noted. There are some points that are very interesting to me as a publisher and president of the Italian Publishing Association. The future role of the publisher. Here it was outlined in two different ways. The active publisher, the old-fashioned type of publisher, or the publisher who is much more at the service of the reader. A publisher who is, well, I don't want to use the term low profile, but let's say less decision-making compared to what the role of the publisher has been so far. That is to say, the publisher places him or herself at the service of the reader to provide the reader with what they need, less the decision maker about what is to be produced and brought to the reader. I would like Cavallero has already told me what he thinks. Santiago della Mara, maybe, or considering the fact that Amazon has entered this world and is establishing itself as a publisher. Maybe Google wants to do that as well. Google wishes to become a great disseminator of editorial products.
People are aware of this. We've played the role of facilitator, of organizing the information, but also making it universally accessible and useful. So in that regard, this is also applicable to ebooks and this, or books as a whole. We work very closely with publishers across the world. We have more than 35,000 partnerships across the world. And we work with them to actually make their content, millions of books, as widely as available as possible. I think this is our role, and our users appreciate that choice. The fact that they can come to Google and through Google go and discover all kinds of authors and all kinds of publishers. That I think is our role.
Sul fronte invece della pirateria, che è un
What about the piracy issue, which seems to be a very strongly felt problem by the publishers? What do you think that the technological capacity to control this can be? And here I would like to address my question to Ricky Cavallero. He is part of the Mondadori Group, and I know that he has had to face this issue. I remember that when the first digital edition of Dan Brown's book was released, and I was told by someone, it's here on my tablet, it had just been published in the US a couple of days earlier. Well, Nubia was mentioning, as an example, the music market. There we had very conspicuous examples of what we should not do. When I was dealing with piracy, I don't think that we as publishers must not look for legal answers. We should look. I have been to Latin America, and I have seen what piracy means. Scarmeta today, and in Chile there is a degree of piracy which is incredible. I apologize for going back to what I was saying earlier on. Chile has 19% VAT on paper books, so let's say that the VAT is incredibly high, and this increases piracy. As a publisher, we need to respond to piracy by making it ineffective from the economic point of view. It means that our products have to be offered at a price that makes piracy totally vain, totally useless. In the digital world, the kind of offer that we make will have to change. We cannot expect to face the digital world selling books as their cover prices. Today, this is fine because we're in a transition phase, but in the future, I don't know when that will happen. I don't know in what terms, but we will lease our books. We will have subscriptions, I expect. I was saying earlier on that our evolution, the evolution of the publishing activity will become competitive with that of the librarian. We will loan books for a certain price. So the price will have to be, of course, carefully thought about, but the whole chain will have to change. The type of work that the people do, what and how we publish, and so on. The piracy will not have to focus on who is stealing our books, but people who steal books really do so because the books are not made available online. Piracy can be fought if we are capable of offering our consumers, our readers, what they are asking for. And that is how we can cancel piracy or make it useless. Fighting piracy from a technological point of view, I think, is a lost battle, because piracy will always be a step ahead of us from this point of view.
però prevede